Hello again, everybody. It's me, Madame Macabre, and it's time for another story time. Now, I'm sure I've shared bits and pieces of this story with you guys across various social media, and I may have even partially touched on it in a past video. I can't remember, and since it wasn't a headline, I'm not sure if it's in a very old vlog or something, but I decided it deserves a proper story time video all its own. What I'm talking about, of course, is how I met my best friend. And I'm sure this is something you guys all have some interesting stories about as well. So as always, you can share in the comments below stories of how you met your best friend. See, back in high school, I was very shy and quiet. I did competitive volleyball, but even then, I didn't even click with my friends on the team. The majority of the people on the team were all the popular girls, and I didn't quite fit in with them. They were nice enough to me when we were on the court, but as soon as that was over, they didn't really want to associate with me because I wasn't one of the cool kids. Ooh. But I digress. It was actually because of volleyball that I ended up meeting my best friend, Shadow Kisses. I got injured before one of the last big games of the season, and this wasn't a light injury, this was a big one. The kind of big one where the doctor tells you, you need to have surgery on this, or you are not going to be able to use your ankle past the age of 30 due to crippling arthritis that will develop. Not maybe, will. So I made the decision to go ahead and get the surgery on my ankle to avoid that in the future. This, however, meant that I would be missing the biggest game of the season due to being in a wheelchair for 3 months to recover after the surgery. Now, mind you, this is kind of a common theme that comes with a lot of US high school sports. They will push you to perform past what's healthy for you. See, my coach wanted me to not get the surgery so I could finish the season. She would prefer me develop arthritis at 30 rather than do what was best for me and miss the last game. Because it would put them out on a limb, they'd have to find somebody else to fill in for me. And because the coach was mad at me, all the other players were mad at me. And mind you, I'm going through a big traumatic surgery. I had to go under general anesthesia. This was a major surgery. And when I recovered, I was bound to a wheelchair and in a lot of pain, and I had to continue going to school in this condition. And while being in this condition, all the girls on my team treated me really badly. Like, they were personally offended that I chose to get my surgery, and it was my fault they were in that situation, so they were all giving me the cold shoulder. And as high school goes, they had everybody else treating me pretty poorly. There were people who would let the door slam in my face, and I'd have to move around and try and figure out how to open the door for myself to get into classes. It wasn't pretty. High school girls can be nasty. This was actually one of the major factors in me deciding to go and do this program called Running Start, where I could go and take the rest of my high school classes at the local community college. I was done. After that year of high school, I went off and went to the college. But for the remainder of this year, there was nothing I could do but continue it out. See, this is where things start to head in a more positive direction. Despite the volleyball girls having their catty nastiness affect me in passing periods and all that, my actual classes themselves weren't bad. I've always been the type of student that does pretty well with the traditional style of learning, so I didn't struggle in that regard. And my last class of the day was art. And this is where you cue in Shadow Kisses. See, she was the TA of this class. In the entire year before this point, we didn't know each other and we didn't talk. We were both kind of shy and we didn't know what to think of each other, so we just avoided each other. But one day, when I had finished one of my particular projects, I was rolling myself up and over to the matting table where they had all the fabric to mat and frame your pieces of artwork. And I was trying to figure out how to work it when I felt a presence come up behind me. You know, when you don't even have to turn around, you can just feel somebody behind you. And that somebody happened to be Dustin. Oh, Dustin. We had known him as the vampire boy. He's the one that would run up to random people in the school and go, "Hey, you know I'm a real vampire, right? You want to see my fangs?" And he'd just show you his normal teeth and be like, "Look, these are my fangs, they're real, bro." And he'd just get right up in your face and to everybody, didn't matter who you were. Well, when you're already not having a great time at high school and you're stuck in a wheelchair and in pain, the last thing you want is Vampire Boy to run up behind you and try and bite you. I don't know what he was thinking. Fortunately, he didn't want to bite me, but he did something really weird that I have never encountered with him before. He leaned down real close and said, "Do you want to see the mating dance of the paradise bird?" What? And no joke, behind me, this guy, without waiting for an answer, just starts doing the weirdest dance I have ever seen in my life. Right behind me. And I'm in a wheelchair. I can't roll away. I can't turn sharp. I'm stuck with him doing this right behind me, and I have no idea how to react. Then, out of the blue, a voice pierces through the crowd. "Dustin, go sit down, nobody likes you." I turned to see the face of my rescuer, and it was none other than Shadow Kisses, standing sentinel as the TA of the class. Without missing a beat, Dustin just turns to her, but then goes back to his seat, just like that. And I was still freaked out because he was still eyeballing me. So I kind of rolled out from there, and then I saw there was an open spot next to Shadow Kisses, so I rolled in right next to her and continued working on my project there. We were both a little bit quiet, and it took a little while to start our conversation, but slowly we discovered we actually had a very similar sense of humor, and we clicked really well. From that day forward, I sat next to her every day, and we started to become the best of friends, and we've stayed really close friends ever since. So that's one for the books, huh? Your best friend rescues you from a vile vampire. Funny enough, even though it's been years since high school, we'll still see Dustin. Every now and then he's walking up and down a main traffic thoroughfare, dressed as Batman last time. Funny side story, there was another girl in our high school that everybody secretly kind of shipped them together. We called her Ninja Girl. She was the one that wore the Naruto headband and ran full speed up and down the hallways with a little run with her arms back there like that, and was like practicing her little hand movements and was gonna challenge you to fights and stuff, and everybody was like, oh, they're perfect for each other. But they actually hated each other. It was like a challenge for supremacy. They were like mortal enemies. Interesting. So, once again, you have any fun stories from how you met your friends? You had a strange vampire kid try and do a bird of paradise mating dance at you? Please, by all means, share below. That is all I have for you today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I will catch you all next time. That's all for now. Bye-bye!